welcome back to the channel. So it has officially been about a month since we have owned the Reencle. I'm sorry, I'll stop moving. It has officially been, oh, poor guy. It's officially been about a month since we have owned the Reencle. It has found its permanent spot here next to our pebble ice machine because we're bougie. You know, we want a homestead, but we still have to have certain expectations. We cannot eat cubed ice. It just doesn't work. So we bought the pebble, or Dad bought the pebble icer for Mom. Either way, it has found itself its permanent home on top of one of the scrapbooking cabinets. It's held up well. I figure while I was making this video, I would go ahead and throw some of tonight's dinner extras in. We've got a whole plate of what is essentially, okay, that was pretty smooth. We've got a whole plate of what is some cabbage scraps from cabbage steaks. You just wave your plate, you just dump that bad boy in there. We've also got some leftovers that we're working on. Poor guy, he's upset. His mommy's not paying attention to him. But we're gonna play here in a little bit. And then I've got some hot honey carrots that just nobody's been eating. And we'll go ahead and pour that in too. It is pretty disgusting. So we'll kind of get into the review from here. Whoa! I'm gonna give y'all whatever that's called, motion sickness. That's what we're gonna give. So first things, everything's been working perfectly fine. It has worked really well for our household. I know it's dark outside, but there's this little area that, and I'll put in a photo clip of it down probably in this area of the video, of kind of an area in the garden that I've managed to clear out. I'm going to try and turn it into an herb garden, but first I have to kind of watch the sun. I've never watched the sun in that area before, so it was never something I worried about. But we've been thinking about starting an herb garden here. And I cleared out that area, not only because it was just a dangerous place. We had some old sticks in there, some trash, as in cardboard boxes that had ended up getting left outside too long and wind blew it into the sticks. And it just kind of became a spot that wasn't safe to have next to the porch where Little Bit plays all the time. So initial thoughts is really helpful. We've actually used some of the compost in that little gardening bed because we did need to fill in some holes. It is a little difficult to transport the dirt from here to the raised beds or just to outside or anywhere else besides in here, just because it does have, if you notice, kind of a lip right here on the inside. And when using the little shovel, I would frequently get it kind of caught on the edge, and that could very well just be operator error. So that's not, it could be just a me problem, it could be an everybody problem, who knows. So far I've really liked it though, just because I'm not worried about anything going to waste. Like, let me dig in there and kind of get in. It has actively turned into like a compost. Yeah, last night I think I put a bunch of old corn husks in there. We had some foil packs for dinner, so I had a bunch of corn husks. I threw those in there just to see what would happen. They seem to be taking a little longer to actually go through with the process of composting. I almost forgot what the whole point of this was. So it does seem to be taking a little longer. I'll go ahead and put you on Reencle so you're not seeing my hands shake. I don't know why I'm so shaky right now. But it's been fun to know that my food scraps aren't going to waste. I'm not just throwing them away for the raccoons to get in. We've actually seen a decrease in raccoons over the past month, just digging our trash cans. We haven't had nearly as much trash. It seems to be decreasing the amount of trash that we'll find in the mornings. around our trash bins, which is weird because it's winter, or it's starting to winterize here in Texas. So you'd think it would start to amp up just so they can gain that pudginess before winter. Although I'm no raccoon expert, so I'm not sure how they operate. um, so the compost that I've used in my indoor plants have started to thrive. I'll post some pictures of some of the outdoor plants that I have used this compost on as well. That's been really nice to use. Now, we've only used maybe a bucket full. You're not supposed to empty out the machine in totality, just due to the fact that it needs that natural bacteria that you put in, that I showed y'all in the first video about the microorganisms that you pour in to start the process. So that's why you're not supposed to use the whole thing. But we did use about a bucket full, just a little or I say little, but it's about decent sized bucket, normal bucket. And we just sprinkled some in to renew some of our dirt in our potted plants, specifically my pomegranate tree and the aloe vera. It was looking a little low. I need to put more dirt in there, just because it kept getting knocked over by the wind or the goats. And I'm so sorry. They kept trying to eat it. So they got knocked over a couple of times, so I need to add more dirt, but I'm waiting for the compost to do its thing. So we have some more dirt to go in. Other than that, it's been really fun. Half the time, most of us forget that it's here. It's very quiet. It doesn't smell, unless you open the lid, but that's kind of to be expected with compost. I mean, you're putting old food scraps in there, so I'm not expecting flowers and daisies. We have nearly every other day managed to put food scraps in here. I'm curious to see, and I almost want to do an experiment on how it handles sourdough. Just because it's not supposed to be washed down the drains, especially if you have a septic line, which we do, and it will get clogged in your pipes and all that unless it is really watered down, and even then you're still risking it just because it turns into cement. So I want to see how it handles sourdough, because I know the water from my sourdough I normally use to water my plants. I might make a video of that next week. I'm also sorry for missing last week. It was hectic. Lots happened. So much happened. Not even just on the farm, but just in everyday life. Overall, it has been a really fun experience to have this little Reencle in the house. My 2-year-old has kind of made a game out of it, of when he's done with his food, nobody wants to eat after the 2-year-old. So if he doesn't finish his plate, then he makes a game of it, and he'll bring the stool over the Reencle, and he'll go, Reencle, and he'll dump his food into the Reencle so that mommy has dirt. It's been an interesting change, because a lot of people are still very used to just throwing it away in the house. But we've kind of been trying to reinforce ourselves. Actually, speaking of which, this video might just be me finding stuff around the kitchen to throw away. I indulged earlier today and bought an entire half of a pumpkin pie from HEB and proceeded to eat it on my lunch break, because why not? I'm an adult. Who's going to stop me? But sometimes the crust is too much, so I didn't eat all of it. Either way, see, what have I gone over? It's been an interesting thing converting it into dirt. I've used it for the indoor plants and the garden bed. I'm curious to see how it handles sourdough. It's handled everything we've thrown at it thus far. The motor functions in it seems fine. We haven't actually pressed any buttons yet. I'm not sure. I need to read the instructions again and figure out if or when I'm supposed to hit like the dry and purify buttons on it. Probably need to go ahead and do that. This is a terrible review just because it's going to be a short one. Because I'm not all that certain on what to say. Personally, I love having this around. Do I think it's worth the nearly $700 price point or $600? I'm not entirely sure. It was a gift. I'm not entirely confident in saying yes. I do recognize that it is. I'm so sorry. I'm going to keep touching my mic because I forget it's there. I do recognize that it is a mechanic. I do recognize that it does most likely have very expensive properties built into it. I mean, the motion sensor stuff is not cheap. It is made of a very slick material. It does look very nice. I do appreciate the design and thought that they put into it to make it not stand out in a house. And it looks like any other kitchen appliance that you'd have to ask about. I like the wide variety they've got. I don't believe that it is worth $600. It is nice to have actual compost come out of scraps. And it's nice to not have to do any of the work. Before my mother-in-law went ahead and bought Reencle, I had been thinking about buying one of those barrels that sits outside that you throw your leaves and your stickers and your waste and your what, and you spin it every couple of days. Those retail like $80, $90, and it does require some manual labor, and it's not nearly as easy to transport all of your food waste from inside the house to outside the house. It's, especially for my family, which is a mainly neurodivergent family, out of sight, out of mind. If I'm not looking directly at it, I forget about it 90% of the time. That would be the case for an outside one. So I do believe that for families such as mine, something like this would be really helpful, minus the price point. The price point for me is really the only hang up with it. If you've got that money to spare or you get it as a gift, it is an amazing thing to have. Absolutely no doubt. I love having this thing around. And I'm not just saying that because I got it as a gift and I live in the same house as the woman who gave it to me. But I do believe that, let's see, we'll put you there. I do believe that they put a lot of effort into the design, and I do heavily appreciate it. But I'm also well aware that these things most likely don't cost that much to build. There we go. Small technical error. Cut that out. But it's more than likely not that expensive to make these. I would need to do more in-depth research. I'm really not trying to slam the company. I get it. People need to make money. You're definitely going to get your money's worth out of this thing after a long period of time. And I think it's a really cool concept. Not many devices out here that like to promote, the all natural composting are actual compost. A lot of it will say broken down food scraps, but it's not true, honest to God compost. The Reencle does have that on most everything. And God, my hair is a mess. The Reencle does have that on top of most things of just being an actual honest to God composter. I do appreciate that it is upfront about using heat. It's not, it tells you upfront what it can and cannot handle, such as the bones. We have put chicken bones in there, or shrimp husks. We put the shrimp husks in there the other night when we shelled the shrimp, just because they're not necessarily a hard-shelled crustacean. I don't know how to word it. God, I'm saying a lot this video. Yeah, I'm trying not to kill time too much. So I'll probably end the video here in a little bit, just because I don't want to sit there and ramble about nonsense. I'm really trying to fix that habit of mine. Either way, I think to break it down and kind of too long didn't read this. The pros, I love the fact that it is an actual composter. Every bit that you put in here does end up turning into usable primo compost. Cons, my plants are thriving off of it. They absolutely love having that little boost of protein. Hi, Bubby. They love having that boost of protein. Hi, my love. They love having that boost of protein. The raised garden bed, it helps fill in holes. It's a nice source of just dirt. Little naked baby. Cons, price point. I don't believe that you should pay $600 for something that should be easily accessible. Something like this could be, I say, easily obtained with an $80 barrel. If you want to go fancy, or you can go way old school and set up a square in the corner of your garden and scoop stuff. For like here on the farm, it would be nice to have a composter that could compost other external factors. You're the one that got down, Goofy. But I'm also well aware that this is an indoor composter. So, of course, you're not going to want to drag a skunk's butt into the house. That is definitely for an outdoor composter. Either way, for the main pros, I only have the one con. Or I guess the two cons. I did mention before the scooping. It is a little difficult, but that could very easily be operator error. Sometimes I'm just not super coordinating. So, 3 pros, 2 cons. That's all I really have for that 1 month update. I'll try for a 6-month update probably, just because I feel like the more I use it and the more I get used to it, the more I can kind of take notes, and maybe next time I'll actually be a little more organized when it comes to this video and I won't be trying to do something fairly last minute. I'm going to try and get better about that. I know that I've missed now 2 Thursdays, and I'm going to keep trying to post every Thursday, just because it's typically aligned, but my schedule has gotten a little wilder with work, so I'm going to probably have to try to make a couple videos in advance and just have them scheduled out. Let me know if there's any videos that you would like to see, if you want me to do another horseback with Chloe and talk about the farm and how it got obtained and kind of the family history. I could do a horseback on my journey into homesteading and what I feel I'm doing thus far. I could do a video of just a day in the life with goats. I would happily sit on the ground and let the goats crawl all over me. I've got bruises all up and down my legs I can show y'all from Morgan jumping on me. They are just love bugs, but oh my god, they hurt. But next video, I think I'm going to do something about my sourdough starter, maybe show y'all how to make your own sourdough starters, or promote a different way if you don't have the time to start your own and kind of just want to get in the hang of it right now. That video might also come with a bake sourdough with me type of thing. And who knows? I'm full of ideas, have no time, but I'm going to attempt it. Thank you so very much for watching, and I really appreciate it, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Bye.